Kung Fu Draft Monday, or should we say Action Drafting? What's cooling? What's going on? I feel like I'm about to open up a can of
Smell like you could use a shower, Stinky. You're fired.
This mock draft's gonna be crazy. I got some different players we're gonna be throwing out here. We got my own draft order. Yeah, let's go. I'm ready to go, Jackie Chan style. I think he's one of the most underrated actors, by the way. When we talk about some underrated football players, I think one of the most underrated actors is Jackie Chan, and that is one of my favorite scenes from First Strike. Not from any movie, like action-wise, that scene was on a different level. It was insane. Patrick Mahomes doing juke moves, 360. I don't care. That's Jackie Chan. He is the Patrick Mahomes of the action scene, and we are going to get into this mock draft. Hold on a second. How do you even get in? Oh, here it is. I mean, you got to be able to even know how to start the draft. I don't even know how to do that, but here we go. We got into it. I think we're going to have technical difficulties more about the mock draft. We're at the number 1 overall pick with the Cleveland Browns on the clock here. I'm going quarterback. There's no other way to go, right? I mean, I love Joe Flacco. I was hoping he would have a little bit of a revenge game, or at least give the Ravens a little bit more of a fight there. It just came down to they were a menace. They locked down their wide receivers. And yeah, I mean, even though the Ravens didn't get tons of pass rush and the offensive line did a pretty good job, they did better in this week's game than last week, I feel like, for the Browns. But the problem is Flacco just doesn't really have any movability. That's the word for it. We need a quarterback for the long haul. I'm going with the big, tall, arm strength talent, Drew Allar, who's gotten better and better. I'm a big Allar fan. He's my number 1 quarterback last season. I think he would have been a top 5 pick had he come out. To me, he is a top 5 pick and somebody I'm clearly willing to take here at number 1 overall. And I do think that you're going to be like, oh, well, you know, he's got some things in there. He reminds me a lot of Justin Herbert coming out of Oregon. There's just so many similarities to me to the way Herbert plays and Drew Allar. So, I don't know. I think you could get a Justin Herbert type of prospect through Drew Allar. I'm at least taking a chance here. I think he's got all the tools to do it. And I do think his decision-making's gotten better. And his overall processing still, you know, it's still coming along and everything like that. But I do think he is better than what people give him credit for. Really do. I like Allar, man. I really do. And then we go into the New Orleans Saints. I'm taking a quarterback here too. Spencer Rattler has not actually been playing bad. And I'm really rooting for Rattler. Trust me, I had Rattler as a guy who I think was being underrated in that draft class in general. However, if you're picking number 2 overall in the New Orleans Saints, it's like you go after a quarterback, you go after Garrett Nussmeier. Just kidding. I gotcha. You thought I was going to pull out the strings. You thought, oh, well, his dad's the... No, we ain't doing none of that. I think Nussmeier is a really good chance that he ends up being the first quarterback off the board. I'm just really not that high on Nussmeier. I think Nussmeier is more of a guy that I would be taking on day 2 if it were me. However, even at the moment, I'd be okay, like in the mid-first round. I just don't know if I'd take him top 10. I don't feel confident with that at the moment. Nussmeier hasn't like blown me away. He's been good. He has been solid this year thus far. And he's had some tough teams gone up against. It's just, I don't know if the decision-making is still there, problematic. I see flashes of it. And then the arm talent isn't anything crazy. And the accuracy also, it's not like he's overly accurate either. That's another thing. Like if he was super accurate and he was a great processor, which he is. He's a great processor and he can read the field and stuff like that. But he's not always the most accurate. So that's kind of one thing there. So that's why for me, next quarterback that I'm taking is somebody that I think, where's the talk? Where's the talk with this one guy? And his name is a guy we were talking a lot about last year. And actually last year I was really low on Carson Beck going into this season. And now I'm the exact opposite. Isn't that funny? Isn't that how it always seems to work? I mean, you go super low and then you go back into the film and you're like, you know what? I actually like this guy. Carson Beck. I think Beck is fantastic. And he was a guy that being ignored at many points of this draft cycle so far. And I feel like that by the end of this draft cycle, to me, he's going to be a top 15, top 10 draft pick. And it's not just with the way he's played this year. I'm not even talking about this year because I have not watched the most recent game. I've only watched the Notre Dame game with Carson Beck of this year. Going in strictly basically on last year's film, I really went in deep dived and I was like came away impressed because really during this season, I only watch the games. I don't necessarily watch always strictly the film on one player sometimes. And Beck, maybe it was a little bit of that where I watched like every Georgia game and I would just like the bad moments would stick out with Carson Beck. And yeah, he's got decision-making problems. However, like the accuracy with Carson Beck is fantastic. His pocket presence is really good. I think he can read the field at a super high level. There's just so many things with Beck. He's a solid athlete, not an elite athlete or anything like that, but you give him a space, he can take off and create with his legs. I feel like Beck is definitely a very underrated player at this point in the overall draft landscape at the moment. To me, he is one of the best quarterbacks in this class right now, easily. And I guess the bar for that is not super high or anything like that. There are a lot of quarterbacks that need to step up at this moment. Jets at number 3. Justin Fields, a 360, and not in a good way. I'm not talking Patrick Mahomes or Jackie Chan like we were talking about at the beginning. It was not good for the Jets. And the Buffalo Bills did a good job on defense. Let's not take credit, away from that. Joey Bosa had a vintage Bosa game, man. He was playing not like Nick Bosa this week. Now, with that being said, for the Jets, I am still so happy with Olu Fashanu. How about I say that? Fashanu's been unbelievable. Mbu, I'm a little bit concerned about. This is just the Jets fan coming out of me right now. I'm a little concerned with Mbu. He's a rookie, so I want to give him some time. But he was the guy that I also had some concerns out coming out of Mizzou because he was the dude that got a lot of chip help there at Mizzou. The traits are obviously there if he can develop and get better with his hands and not lunge in the block so often, get over his toes. But strictly going to this for the Jets, the areas you look at, quarterback, Justin Fields, he just couldn't read the field. He missed receivers. He missed Garrett Wilson a couple of times in that game. It was really just not a good game for Justin Fields. We'll see how he bounces back. We are going to take a quarterback here. Another area that would be a sneaky need for the Jets, I feel like is a cornerback as well. Quarterback and cornerback. Brandon Stevens has not played good. I would say get Isaiah Thomas out there. I mean, Stevens was better in this week's game. Last week, it was like a disaster any which way. I'm going to go and take Fernando Mendoza. I guess if you look at a Jared Goff comp, right? I know it's a little bit of if in that, but Aaron Glenn gets a Jared Goff type of quarterback with Fernando Mendoza. And did I mention Hoosiers? That's what I'm talking about. I love Hoosiers. And I graduated. That's, hey, I'm a Hoosier alumni, so I got a little support there for Fernando Mendoza. And he's gotten better and better so far this season. They just destroyed Indiana State. Now, granted, Indiana State, I mean, trust me, in Indiana State's not very good. Let's just be real. But it is what it is. Carolina here at number 4. And for the Carolina Panthers, I am going to, this is a tough one because you look at Bryce Young, the first half, he looked abysmal. He really was not good. And then the second half, something clicked, right? Something popped. And he's like, oh, man, I can read the field. It was mainly because the offensive line in the second half played way better. The first half was not good. I'm like, dude, you're paying all these guys and they are not playing good at all. So come on, we got to play better around here because Bryce Young, I felt like was pressure on every single snap and it was getting real bad. So hopefully they play more like they did in the second half. And Aaron McMillan was a beast too in that game. They have a number 1 wide receiver. Where's Xavier Legette, by the way? I am going to take defensive help. I'm not going to go ahead and replace Bryce Young. He'll be the 4th quarterback on the board here. And, we're not going to do that at this point. Oh, we're going to go ahead and take Ruben Bain. The Bane, like, not from Batman, but the Bane machine, whatever. He'll be going and supercharging up here. And we get ourselves some more pass rush for the Carolina Panthers. Yes, I do think they'll get better and they'll get more passers with some of those young guys when they get going, Gordon and Prince Umamielen and whatnot, Pat Jones and stuff. So we'll see how things go along as the season progresses. I do thought they did a decent job getting some pressure there on Arizona this week. Overall, still think that is a big need for them. And yeah, I mean, I'm not going to pass up on Ruben Bain, who I think is a top 5 type prospect in this class either. So why not? Let's go on to the Fins. And I know it's normally Fins up, but right now it seems a little bit of Fins down. What is going on in Miami right now? They did play a lot better this week. Tyreek Hill stepped up, made some big plays. Waddle made some big plays. Even Malik Washington had some nice, runs and stuff. Their offense was much better. Their defense, though, is one of the worst that I have seen in quite some time. It is that bad. I mean, come on. This defense needs revamping, and it needs now. They need a blue chip player. Oh, is there a blue chip player in this class? Caleb Downs? Yeah, he is a blue chip player. One of the best players, if not the best player in the draft. Easy. That's a run to the table moment. We don't even need to explain this anymore. We're going on before I try to rethink anything. Hey, it's already been pushed. I can't rethink it. And I think this one's pretty clear for the Giants. Continue to invest in the offensive line. This pass game, I mean, oh my gosh. The flags. What is going on? Hudson, 4 penalties in 1 drive? You crazy? What are you doing out there? I feel like just for doing this mock draft, I'm getting flags. I'm just saying his name. A flag, flag, flag. They're probably going to penalize me right now for just saying his name. It was unbelievable. That whole game was an insane amount of penalties. Gosh. I was just watching flags all day. On to the Titans here at the number 7 overall pick. And for Tennessee, I still think that this is another area that they need to add more pass rush. It's been a problem for them is pass rush, and they don't get a whole ton of pressure. That New England offensive line is still a work in progress. They did a really good job, though, on Tennessee, and it just goes to show I think that they need to really ramp up that pass rush and oomph it up. And I'm going to go get Keldrick Falk. The guy can stop the run at a high level, and he can also get after the quarterback. It just makes a lot of sense. Falk, with all those tools, can continue to be a better pass rusher as he gets going there. Maybe be a Trayvon Walker type of candidate, right? Mikael Williams, plenty of those comps, I'm sure, are going to be coming out with the Keldrick Falk man. And now we go on to the Bears, the lowly Bears. Oh, my gosh. What is going on with the Bears right now? Now, I do think that over time, I do think Caleb Williams is still going to get better as the season progresses. I do think the Bears in general, just as a football team, coaching staff, it's a lot of there's a lot of things going on behind the scenes that I think that reasons for this team struggling so far early on. With that being said, Braxton Jones has struggled so far. I know he's still trying to get fully healthy. I could see that. But they did invest with Ozzie Trapillo. Maybe they moved Darnell Wright over to left tackle and then put Trapillo over right tackle. It's definitely a possibility. So in that case scenario, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to invest in the defense, and I'm going to continue to invest in this secondary. I really do like going linebacker, but I'm going to change it up a little bit. I'm going to go corner here today because I do think that they still need help. And Stevenson has struggled a little bit, so there's that. I mean, I know Gordon's injured right now. I want to add another cornerback in here. I'm going to go and take Jermod McCoy. Still waiting to see what he looks like when he comes back, and there's no guarantee he even comes into the draft class. But I do like him a lot. Other than the Andrew Armstrong tape of last year, I thought he was really, really good for the Vols. They should have won that game too versus Georgia. Oh my gosh, that was unfortunate. I thought they had that game. So here's a little recap of the first 8 picks of this draft. Just kind of trying to make sure we can see the full board out here. Remind myself to take a look at the overall picks and stuff like that. Especially if you're skipping around and want to see, where'd your team go and stuff like that. Totally understand. But we're on to the Vikings now at number 9 and Skull, let's go, where they had a rough week. I think J.J. McCarthy really did struggle quite a bit this week versus that Falcons defense. They did a good job getting after him as well. I thought the pressure was very, very good from that Falcons defense. I almost said Falco, but I kind of did. The Falcons, that young pass rush, on a side note, looks really, really promising. So Falcons fans, I got to say, I might be worth trading up for James Pierce Jr., and some of those guys on the interior are paying off. So I like it. Dorless is looking good. Harrison, you name it. So Walker had a good game. All around that defensive line. But this is about the Skulls right here. I'm sorry. I apologize. I'm getting a little sidetracked. But with this Minnesota Vikings pick, I am actually going to do something a little bit different here because I'm going to trade down. I want to go ahead and add because there's a couple of teams, right? And when I mean a couple of teams, maybe the Steelers, maybe the Rams, could be looking for their franchise quarterbacks. Maybe they're trying to vie up to move and get a quarterback in front of each other, whatever. There always seems to be one quarterback trade or something each and every draft season. So with Mock Monday being A1, where we have draft trades and stuff, that's where, and look, it even knows. I am telling you, every single time I say something, the speakers on my computer probably listening to me. They know what's going on here, but we're going to make this deal happen. I am going to give up a future 1 to move up 5 spots for the Pittsburgh Steelers, and we are going to be moving up for a quarterback. This is a very tough one for me. A lot of people are going to say, take Garrett Nussmeier, take Garrett Nussmeier. I'm not taking Garrett Nussmeier. I like Nussmeier, but I don't know. I just don't know if I like him enough to be a first-round player at the moment. We'll see. Still some more time on that. John Mateer is also a player that has some ups and downs. I do have more of a day 2 grade on him, but he is a guy that has a lot of upside if he can kind of smooth out some of the accuracy issues and decision-making here and there. There's another guy that we might talk about later too, but I'm going to take Johnny Mateer, Johnny Football, the new Johnny Football, because he does play a little bit like Johnny Manziel in many ways. He's going to have some boom or bust like that too, but if you can develop him, I think he could be a really, really good football player. I'm taking John Mateer top 10. It does seem a little outrageous at the moment, but I really do like John Mateer. And he's a guy that's been on my watch radar ever since the Apple Cup last year in that Washington game. I really like Jean Mateer. He's got some things he's going to have to work on. On to the Raiders at number 10. And yeah, I mean, I hate to do this to you, but it's like Peter Woods, it's screaming out to me. He's a good football player. I haven't seen him make tons of plays so far yet in Clemson games, but he is a good football player. And I think it's just the value here at number 10 makes a lot of sense. They need to continue to invest in the defense. So that's what we're going to do here for the Raiders, is getting some more defensive line help. I think it's just a clear ad for this football team. Where they got some more veterans on that line, it makes a lot of sense. On to the Seahawks here. Could they go quarterback? I get it. They won. But I'll be honest, I thought their defense won them the game. Sam Darnold, he was pretty clutch there at the end. I thought he made some really good throws in the second half. So we're not going to go quarterback or nothing like that. Not at the moment. I'm going to stick with the theme of going offensive line. I just think it's the priority that they have to improve this season. I'm going to go take Francis Mauigoa, right tackle. That's an easy plug and play. Gray Zabel looks like a future All-Pro. That guy looks like a stud. I'll just say through the first 2 weeks, I have barely seen him lose. Very, very good. So you got to be happy you found you got a good left side. Cross struggled a little bit this week but you had a tough matchup in general. I think they've got a very, very promising left side of the offensive line. Now go fix up that right side and shore that up. On to the Patriots here at number 12. And this is one where I think it's a couple of positions that they're going to be really heavily looking into. I still think receiver is something that they're going to be prioritizing. Offensive line too. Those two areas on offense. They actually had a pretty good game, but once again, that Miami secondary, might be, but I would just say Ohio State would make them look silly. There's plenty of football teams in college that would probably do well versus that Miami Dolphins secondary right now. I am going to lean on adding in Jordan Tyson, though. I think it's between this or an edge rusher. There's some good edge rushers I'd be willing to take here. I like Jordan Tyson, and I think Tyson would be like that long-term number one guy for them. So that's what I'm really going to do here. Tyson it's a tough value to not pass up on at this point at number 12 for them. I don't know. We could go either way because pass rush is still a need. With that interior defensive line playing as good as it was, Milton Williams kind of putting away the game there in many ways. That's why I'm going to go ahead and take a wide receiver here. Maybe next week we'll go with an edge rusher. It just kind of depends on the value, right? That's kind of the way I look at it with these mock drafts. Broncos at 13. I am going to take a pass rusher here. I'm going to take some more defensive lineup. Even though the defensive line's been really good, I'm going to go take one of my guys in this class. I like Caleb Banks. He's a stud. I think he's a rock star. He's a Gator. And boom, bada bing, I'm going to take him. He could be that long-term JFF, or John Franklin Myers, JFM replacement. I'm mixing up the syllables out here. But I'm going to go ahead and lock him in there to lock in your defensive line now with Jones, Allen, and Banks as your group of three. Do you think they need to get a little younger? Yeah, they got Savion Jones, who can play a little inside, can play a little bit of that role of John Franklin Myers. I just think adding in a Banks, he can be a dude that'd be another disruptor. Jones is your nose tackle, Allen is your 3-tech, and then Banks can play a little inside out. Like, he gives you versatility where you can play really all across the defensive line. On to the Vikings now, where we traded down with the Steelers for the quarterback situation, get a future first-round pick just in case, right? Maybe the whole J.J. McCarthy thing doesn't work out, and then the next season you have some ammunition to be able to go in there and use some draft capital and stuff like that. But with this pick, I'm actually going to lean towards a linebacker at this point. The value is solid at 14. I think C.J. Allen is a very, very good linebacker from Georgia. The dude is just an instinctual, dominant run defender. He is one of the better run defenders. And if you look at that Bijan Robinson, Bijan Robinson is a top 3 running back in the NFL right now, in my opinion. But Bijan even Tyler Algier, they were running all over him. Maybe we'll get a defensive tackle in here. Maybe need a little more youth on that defensive line. With the top 2 guys off the board, I said, let's go get the number 1 linebacker in the class. Well, you can make the argument, this linebacking class is so good. Who is number 1? It's too early to tell. I love Sonny Styles. So Styles was definitely a guy in my mind as well. I like him a lot. Whit Weeks, Anthony Hill. It kind of depends on what you're looking for as well. Harold Perkins, another guy. We're going to talk about dudes like Arvell Reese. I'm sure he'll get his name mentioned in the first round very, very, very soon. On to the Cowboys here at number 15. I'm going to go ahead and, while I know you're going to see a lot of defensive linemen, edge rushers particularly mocked to this football team, and I get it, but I'm going to go a different route here. I'm going to take another corner. I'm going to go take Avion Terrell from Clemson, and I feel like they need to improve to the secondary. Diggs has not been good. I know he's coming back from injury still. He's still dealing with that. Bland has been dealing with his own injury, so waiting for him. They've just not been good in the secondary. I want to improve it. There's a lot of guys you could look at. I mean, Damani Jackson's had a good season so far this year. He's going to probably here. I'll probably put him in a mock draft or put him in one of these picks very, very soon. But for right now, I'm going to go and take Avion Terrell from Clemson. Very, very good football player there, and maybe just lacks the big time size or anything like that. But he's got good athleticism and sticky corner. On to the Cardinals here at number 16 overall. I am going to go ahead and stick with protecting Kyler Murray, and that was something that wasn't a great this week. I feel like they could use another interior player, more or less, like a guard. That, to me, is a big area that they may have to look at this offseason. I don't know if those picks are quite working out at the moment. But with that being said, Jonah Williams going to a contract year. I'm just going to take the best available offensive lineman. To me, that is Caleb Lomu here. Lomu's an absolute beast. There's a couple of good offensive linemen that I really like. Gooseby is an interesting one that I think could end up producing into a very, very good offensive lineman. I like Shelton a lot, too. I think he's being a little bit underrated right now. And Shelton could play guard, actually, too. I'm going to get Lomu, though. I think Lomu's a top 15 player. And you could always, you go work something out. I know that he plays left tackle. And you're like, well, can he slide over right tackle? There's always questions, but he's got the athleticism. And typically when you look at these offensive linemen that are really athletic, moving from left to right tackle is a little bit easier. On to, at least that's going to be what I'm going to say for this. Wink, wink. On to the Rams here at number 17 overall. Quarterback. Do they go ahead and take a quarterback of the future? It's possible. Stafford's still a beast, though. That's the thing. Like, Stafford is an absolute monster. I am going to take a quarterback, though, of the future in this mock draft. I'm going to take one of my favorite players, Darian Mensah, the Duke quarterback. He transferred from Tulane. He's been solid this year. Very, very solid. And I would even call it really good. And you go to the Illinois tape. I watched it. I know the stats will say otherwise. I thought he had a pretty good game. He had a couple of bad throws, but overall, I thought he had a very, very solid game versus a tough Illinois defense. He's a guy that, to me, has the traits of a Jordan Love. He reminds me so much of Jordan Love. And the Rams have seen Jordan Love up front and personal. So I think a guy like Darian Mensah, they could groom and develop, especially if he's able to sit a season or two. He is the type of guy that if he can develop, I mean, you can say that about any of these quarterbacks, but the lot of the talent with him that I see with Mensah, it's there. I really think that this guy has so much potential, and we're going to take a shot at him. And maybe this is something that they take a quarterback with this other first-round pick. I could totally see that. I'm going to take Mensah, though, here, a guy that I do think has all the potential to be a very, very franchise quarterback very easily. I'd take him over Nussmeier, and that's why I did take him over Nussmeier. I wouldn't lie to you. Hopefully, I wouldn't lie to him, but my nose, it's getting big all of a sudden. Whoop. But no, I love Mensah. I think he is a guy that very easily could be a franchise quarterback, and I would definitely take him there. On to the Browns here, number 18 overall. Remember, that first pick, we went quarterback. We got Drew Allar. Now, I do think the offensive line is still the thing we have to improve the most. You can make the argument if they let go of Newsome, then secondary could be an area that they have to look at. I am going to go ahead and take offensive line. I'm not going to overthink this one because their offensive line's getting older on that interior especially. The tackle position has not been good. Jack Conklin's injured again. Let's go get Trevor Gooseby, Texas tackle, a lot of upside with him. Still needs to work on his hand technique. I think he's not the most athletic. I don't know if he's as athletic as people give him credit for, but he is definitely a decent mover for a guy his size. His strength is his strength. Like, he has got long arms, and he is a strong blank man. You know what I mean? That's really what it is. On to the Houston Texans, though, here at number 19 overall. Here's your little recap from the last couple of picks and whatnot. And they're actually playing right now as I'm recording this right now. By the time it's uploaded, it might be done. But I'm trying not to pay too close attention to that game right now. I like to watch and go without knowing, and then I watch the game without ads afterwards. I just ads. I like ads, but maybe not while I'm watching football because it's like, I'm intense. I want to watch what's happened. So I am going to go a different route. I know offensive line is a huge need. Maybe they spend some money in free agency too. They've invested a lot of draft capital and just really haven't hit. So the one thing with Nick Cassera that I think he needs to get better at is hitting on some of these offensive linemen. Now, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go with a linebacker, believe it or not. I think defensive tackle is definitely in play. I don't know if there's anybody I would take at this moment. So I'm going to go and take a linebacker because I think this linebacking class is just so good. I'm going to go take my man, Sonny Styles from the Ohio State University. The dude it's sunny all day over there at the Buckeyes. Sonny Styles guy. He's a guy that has the athletic traits to play safety. He's a dude that has the instincts to play at that linebacker position that you so need. He has the ability to rush the passer as well off the edge if you want him to, and certainly has all the tools you're looking for to be an all-around beast next to Al-Jahir at that linebacking core. Aziz is a good football player, but maybe they look for a long-term replacement for Christian Miller, who just, I don't know, it's kind of fallen off since the injuries and stuff like that. So that's why I'm thinking, hey, let's go ahead and add some help here. On to the Washington Commanders. We just did the Houston Texans. Now we're on to the Commanders. Jaden Daniels. Offensive line is a big question mark. Sam Cosmi is going to be a huge one when he comes back later, hopefully in this season. However, I am going to go on the defense side of the ball still because, more pass rush would be nice, and it's been a problem for them not getting after the quarterback. I'm going to go get LT Overton, the Alabama edge rusher. I just think he's really a put-together player, and he knows after to get after the quarterback. He's a strong run defender. He's a great football player. I just feel like his floor is so high to be a very, very good football player. On into the Bengals now at number 21 overall, the Bengals. I don't know what the heck the Jags were doing, but they basically gave them that football game. Let's give some credit to Browning, man. He made some great throws when it mattered. I'll say that. And Jamar Chase. Oh my gosh, Jamar Chase. He's number one in the league right now. He is unbelievable. But with this pick here, Jackson Hill stepped up. Maybe we avoid the corner position this time. And that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go offensive line because did you see that offensive line? Okay, you probably didn't because they weren't blocking anybody. I'm taking Connor Lew. I'm not even thinking about this one, man. We're going to go ahead and take him. Oh, here we go. Draft him. Yeah, that's an easy one for me. Put on here to the San Francisco 49ers. The Niners are an interesting team to pick for. I think it's going to come down for me between offensive line and maybe another playmaker. Right now, I do feel like the playmakers are pretty good, but at the same time, they could maybe even use another wide receiver, like an option. The injuries, Ayuk, Kittle's injured, like that. It's made it tough. McCaffrey had a good game. I think that, I got to give Tonja some credit. That guy's played pretty dang well these past. Farrell got his first touchdown for them, so that was great. I'm going to take Kenyon Sadiq, who's a guy that they use two tight end sets quite a bit. So this is not replacing Kittle. This is Kittle because just got an extension, so I get that. But Sadiq and Kittle, that combination, and Sadiq's a better blocker than he gets credit for. The guy can definitely, Oregon is a very good at coaching how to block their tight ends and just in general. I'm going to take Sadiq, who's a versatile player that just seems like a Shanahan guy. I don't know what it is. The way that they use him at Oregon and his play style too, with his yak ability, and you get the ball in his hands, whether it's from jet sweeps or what you name it, right? Like he can take it the distance. Really good athlete, somebody that is just going to be a unique player. On to the Colts here, Indiana Jones. Oh man, this is a crazy good story. Okay, I don't care if you're you are a Jags, a Houston, or, Titans fan, you name it. I was forgetting you guys. Sorry. But I'm like, you got to respect this story for Daniel Jones. I love it. I hope continues to play really, really, really good. And that I know the leverage call was questionable, whatever. However, with that being said, I'm super excited for the Indianapolis Colts here. I'm back in Indy too, so it's been a lot of fun here. I am going to be looking at either a linebacker, which I think is definitely a big need for this football team. You could also look at a potential right tackle of the future if Braden Smith is not re-signed. In this case scenario, though, I'm going to go ahead and improve the defense. I want to add in another linebacker into this room because I still think that that's something that they could really work on and get better at. It's not been like a massive issue for them thus far this season, but I do think it's something that they can continue to address. And the guy that I'm going to go get is Anthony Hill Jr. Whit Weeks is a great football player too, man. You could go back and forth on these guys. I like Harold Perkins a lot. You could talk Arvell Reese. He's not in this simulator right now too. He's a guy that when we do our 2-round mock draft with our graphics, he might be a name that gets put upon in this first round. But we're going to go ahead and take Anthony Hill from Texas. Great linebacker. On to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Also could use a linebacker, but I'm going to go with an edge rusher here. Colts could go an edge rusher too. They still need more edge talent. I feel like they've been okay. I'm going to take a pass rusher with some juice. I'm going to go David Bailey from Texas Tech. That guy has got insane bend. Like he's on a different level of bend. It depends on if you want more power, then go with Parker. If you want more speed, go with Bailey, a Thomas. Those guys would make a lot of sense to me. We're going to go ahead and add in more speed into Todd Bowles' defense. Just kind of seems like something he would add in there. Chiefs now, I am going to add more pass rush here. Now is where we're going to add in T.J. Parker. Jones was really good this week versus that Philadelphia offensive line. I saw him beat Dickerson a couple of times. That's no easy feat. But I'm going to still add more off the edge. It's something that this team is lacking right now is more consistent pass rush. They're just allowing the quarterbacks too much time in the pocket to throw, and got to get after the quarterback quicker. I think Parker would be a little developmental prospect for them at this point and a good value. We're going to keep it going. Edge rushers all day, man. That's what we're ready to do. I'm taking one with the Detroit Lions, even though that defense played a very good job. Remember, they play a lot of man coverage in Detroit. You got to have your front getting home. When you're putting your corners on an island, you need to get home. I'm going to go add more pass rushing here. I'm going to go get Cassius Howell. Love Cassius Howell. He's been one of the dudes. Going back to the Bowling Green days, that guy is a football player that is a dude that I think could rise very, very high after this is all said and done. It wouldn't shock me. Let's just put it that way. The dude has really good athletic traits. This past week versus Notre Dame, he was more of a run defender. I saw him make a ton of plays, TFLs and stuff like that. Maybe didn't get after the quarterback as much as he has in the first couple of weeks, but that dude is a baller. On to the Chargers at number 27 overall. Hey, we're going pass rush, baby. Let's continue to add to that theme. Yes, we could look at maybe on offense. Maybe they add another like tight end option in here. Sadiq's off the board. Claire's an interesting option. I like John Michael Gillenborg, one of my favorite tight ends actually in the class. But we're going to go add a pass rusher. There's still some good ones on the board here, but I'm going to go get R. Mason Thomas. I think he fits with some more speed that Harbaugh defense likes off the edge. Let's do it, man. On to the Baltimore Ravens here at number 28 overall. And you know what? This is a football team that's really in a spot where they're BPA. I guess if you're talking about the weak spots on this team, it would be like offensive interior. I think that maybe they could add another interior defensive lineman to go along with Madubuike and Jones. Maybe they add another corner. That's definitely a possibility. I'm going to go, this is the pick that I'm going to say, you know what? I'm just going BPA, screw it. Hopkins a free agent, and Hopkins is still playing amazing. Had some more amazing catches this past versus the Browns. I'm going to go ahead and Malachi Lemon from USC. He is a fantastic wide receiver, and I can't pass up on the value at this point and do kind of what the Ravens do and just get best player available, and we'll steal a wide receiver off the board who I think could easily be a top 15 pick when it's all said and done. It's still too early to tell. He's not a perfect prospect. He might be a slot-only guy. Zay can play on the outside. I think that Lemon can play on the inside out. So you get Bateman, you have the Bateman, right? And then all those commercials. We were talking about commercials earlier, and now it's on my mind. Look what you did. But you got Lemon, Bateman, Flowers as your long-term group, especially with their tight ends all being free agents. Lemon gets you another wide receiver. Maybe they start playing more 3-person, or 11 personnel. You never know, right? They could shake some things up. Yeah, it's definitely possible, all right? On to the Rams here. We went quarterback. Remember, we got after Darian Mensah. We're going to be a talked-about pick, I'm sure, in this mock draft, but I love Mensah. I'll stick behind it. I don't know if it's something they need to do, but he would be more of a developmental guy for a few years. With this pick, though, we're going to go with more of a guy that they can use right now, somebody that could be an impact for this football team day one. And it's going to be a cornerback player, Damari Jackson. Damari Jackson's been really good this season. Xavier Scott's a good player. Mansour Delane, good football player. There's some interesting corners. I think this is where a lot of makes sense with Jackson. Last season, he seems to, so far this year, he's been playing really good. And last season, there were some big-time flashes. I still saw him getting beat a little too often last year. If he can put it together completely, I think he'd be a top 15 pick. Because he's got all the traits. Like, he has top 10 level traits, I feel like, with his athletic profile and stuff like that. But they could use a cornerback for the long haul, even though it wasn't the biggest issue, I'll say, versus the Titans. But that Titans wide receiving room doesn't, super scare me or nothing like that. So let's go add in somebody in here. And also, every time the Rams are picking, I just got to say Nate Landman's a beast, because he is. So on to the Eagles here, number 30 overall. And I am going to be looking at, for the Eagles, either an edge rusher. I also could see them sneaky going after, if they don't bring, of course, Dallas Goedert, then tight end would be something they would look at. But I'm going to go with an edge rusher here. I am going to take Joshua Josephs from Tennessee. I watched that Georgia game. Josephs had some really, really nice plays versus a tough offensive line. He was a dude that he also had a strip sack in that game. The guy can make some plays. I like him. He can bend the corner. He's got some decent power as well. So add in a player that I think fits that Vic Fangio style of edge rusher with speed. on to the Buffalo Bills. Buffalo Bills, oh, at number 31 overall. This is BPA once again. I'm actually going to go with a safety here. Safety is an area that I feel like they could still use upgrades. And I'm going to go at Dylan Thieneman from Oregon. He's a beast. I'm a Ducks fan. Yeah, he is a beast. I like Kamari Ramsey a lot too. They're both very, very good football players. And you know what? I think the Cowboys also need a safety here. So I'm going to go ahead and take a safety because with their first pick, we got after, who did we take with the first pick? Oh, Avion Terrell. That's right. Okay, I'm going to double dip. Yeah, I don't care. I'm going to go get more secondary help. They need it. I mean, it's a problem out here. I'm going to go get Kamari Ramsey, and I feel like he'll be the nice Donovan Wilson replacement for them, or even Malik Hooker long term. Like, they figure it out. They need more secondary help in general. But that's going to do it here for the mock draft. All right. And, I think this quarterback conversation is always interesting. Every single draft, you're always like, okay, how many quarterbacks are going to be in there? Are there any good quarterbacks? And I would say that I feel like that a lot of mock drafters right now are really down on this quarterback class. I'm not ready to go there. We're not even conference play yet. It's just too early to say that. So I think there's some guys that really have stepped up. And there's some sleepers out there that we're not talking about. There's a dude that I'm watching right now. I'm not going to say nothing too crazy because I'm still going through his film. But I just watched a game before I did this mock draft, and I'm like, this guy, my brother actually called it out on me. I'm like, dude, oh my gosh, this guy easily could transfer next year and be a first-round pick, I feel like, in that next year, top 10 type of player. Really like somebody. We'll talk about him more. I'm going to probably try to make a video of him here really, really soon. With this quarterback class, though, right now, like Allar, Beck, Mendoza, I feel pretty good about those guys. And yeah, Nussmeier, I mean, once again, I see him as more of a day two guy at the moment. We'll see. Okay, we'll see. And I like guys like Mateer. I would rather take a chance on maybe Mateer or a Mensah than go after Nussmeier. Like, the safer pick would be just go Nussmeier here for the Steelers or for the Rams or whatever. But I just like I want to take a chance. Like, I feel like Mensah and Mateer are guys that I could see being top 10 quarterbacks in the league, and I really do like them. So that's kind of where I'm at with this. Oh, yeah, sorry. Let me go down so you can see some of these picks if you're skipping through and you want to see your teams down here. So that's really going to be it here, though, for this mock draft. Definitely let me know what you think, agree or disagree. I'm going to bring in a 2-round mock draft. Tomorrow's going to have pictures, and it's going to be a template. So that means that a lot of the names aren't in the simulator right now, like Dante Moore, could be in fair game. He's another guy that when you look at the quarterback class, maybe Dante Moore ends up being a top 10 pick in this class. It's just too early with him because we have not seen him go against a really good defense just yet. I'm not counting Northwestern or Oklahoma State as really good defenses because it's just not really true. So that's kind of where I'm at. And anyway, I hope you guys have a really good day, and let's keep it fighting out here.